Please remember to like, subscribe, and turn on bell notifications to support our channel. We appreciate each and every one of you. Anas Sarwar, the leader of Scottish Labour, is facing tough questions about his leadership. Once seen by the Daily Record as a strong voice for Scotland, the Labour-supporting newspaper seems to be turning critical, recently calling him blindsided in the face of Labour's blunders. Today, we look at how Sarwar's promises of standing up for Scotland are falling apart. Anas Sarwar has often promised that he could stand up to Westminster for Scotland. But the reality is far different. When the winter fuel payment issue came up, a crucial decision that affects many vulnerable people in Scotland, Sarwar was completely out of the loop. This was a UK-wide decision, and Sarwar wasn't even consulted. How can someone claim to stand up to Westminster for Scotland when they don't even know about or have a say in decisions that affect their own constituents? Remember, this is a Labour government we are talking about in Westminster. This isn't just a one-off case, it exposes the bigger problem, Sarwar's lack of real power. Despite being the leader of Scottish Labour, Sarwar's hands are tied by decisions made in London. Westminster, and by extension Keir Starmer, calls the shots. Sarwar has little influence over what actually happens in Scotland. The Scottish public is increasingly seeing Sarwar as a figurehead for Labour, with no real power to make meaningful changes. Polls and public sentiment are shifting, with polls showing Labour at an all-time low and Keir Starmer worse than Rishi Sunak. People feel like voting for Scottish Labour means endorsing Westminster's agenda, not Scotland's. And this feeling is growing as more and more voters realise that Sarwar is simply following orders from London instead of standing up for Scotland. The bigger question now is, what's the point of voting for Labour in Scotland? If Scottish Labour can't influence decisions that matter to Scots, why should they get Scottish votes? Sarwar's leadership is becoming a liability for the party. The Labour-supporting Daily Record is now highlighting his failings. Their recent article calling Sarwar blindsided shows that even his supporters know he has no power to stand up for Scotland. When the media begins to criticise a political leader, it often signals a wider problem. The Daily Record's headline is a huge warning sign for Sarwar and Scottish Labour. Media outlets that once rallied behind Labour are now realising Sarwar's inability to lead, reflecting broader concerns about Labour's place in Scottish politics. Sarwar's lack of power is no longer a hidden issue. It's out in the open for all to see. Scottish Labour is at risk of becoming irrelevant under his leadership, with both voters and the media opening their eyes to the reality of a powerless Labour Party in Scotland. What do you think? Is there a future for Scottish Labour with Sarwar at the helm, or is it time for real change in Scotland to take power away from Westminster and into the hands of Scots? Let us know in the comments. Stay informed, stay engaged, and make sure that your voice is heard.